Hi, Ray here. I'm glad you could join me today on my journey to find a tripod up to the job of supporting my growing video rig. So today I've come out into the field here to do some testing on panning and tilting, and I hope you'll join me to look at the results. But in the meantime, here's a little bit of background information. Meanwhile, back in the studio, if you're a regular visitor to my channel, you may know that I was planning to buy a Sachtler Activ8 Flowtech 75 tripod system. And the price on that system is $3,258.50 US. So Canadian, that's $4,167. And Sachtler just announced 5 new 100mm fluid heads in the Active and FSB lines, and 13 system packages, combination head and legs, from the FSB 10 Mark II fluid head, retailing for $2,400, to a monster Active 14T at $5,000. So I've been trying to figure out what body part I could part with that hasn't been damaged, worn out, removed, or modified by Canada's public medical system. Last summer, I was in a media scrum and a guy from one of the TV news channels walked up with a Sachtler rig, so I got to see firsthand how quickly it set up with its innovative Flowtech legs. Then Nikon came along and seduced me with the flagship Z9 camera, which incidentally should lighten the load slightly as far as video rig goes, since it won't necessarily demand an external recorder, though I'll still likely use a monitor of some kind. But I digress. The tripod really is the foundation of any video rig. When I first got serious about adding video to my skill set about 10 years ago, I invested in a hybrid video photo head, the Manfrotto MH055MBQ5 fluid photo movie head. It wasn't cheap. Cost about $500 Canadian. But I have to admit, it's sort of the worst of all worlds, neither a great stills head or video head. Certainly it's no match for the kind of video rig I'm using these days, which, with all components installed, external audio recorder, mic, etc., it tips 5.4 kilos, 12 pounds. It's apparent in recent videos I've made featuring my video rig how wobbly it is. And though the head is rated to 15.4 pounds or 7 kilos, it seems to me it binds. It seems less smooth than it once was. Maybe it's worn. But that'll become apparent in the upcoming tests. Anyway, since the Z9 and its expensive CF Express cards it runs on have eaten into my tripod budget, I was looking around for a decent alternative to the Sachtler. So a few months back, I stopped into my favorite used camera store to pick up some film for a planned film shoot. And in the corner, I noticed a lonely video tripod. To be honest, I'd never heard of the Cartoni brand. I'm not a filmmaker, otherwise I'd be familiar, I guess, with this leading manufacturer of video heads and rigs. I gave it the once over and dragged myself out of the shop. But there it was again, a month later, when I stopped in for more film. Again, I left with the shop's, last 2 rolls of Kodak Portra 160. Like everything else, it seems there's a shortage of that. But I got a block down the street, and the Cartoni was calling to me. "Hey, Armando, where you going, eh?" I'm sorry, my apologies to all the Italians out there. I just thought, really, this is an opportunity that's unlikely to turn up again anytime soon, so I hightailed it back to the shop and laid down my Visa card. And now I'm the owner of one of these fine tripods, consisting of a laser Z100 fluid head and L502 legs. New in the mid-aughts, it would have cost US $2,475 for the head and $1,000.75 for the legs. That's 4,558 Canadian. I know this from using the Wayback Machine for B&H listings. In 2012, B&H had the kit on sale for $3,394.95 US, or for, 43.80 Canadian? Anyway, whichever way you look at it, in Canadian dollars, I dropped on a bargain worth around $4,000, paying just $1,300. And the guy at Camera Traders even threw in a brand new spare plate worth $125.50 US or $140 Canadian. And it came with a Kata bag worth $285 US, so $365 Canadian, for a total of $5,063 Canadian for the whole works. The Laser Z100 head is rated from 4 to 12 kilos, 8 to 25 pounds, so it's almost overkill for my rig. This is a 100mm bulb, and I was anticipating getting the 75mm Sachtler. When we move into the 100mm Sachtler, then prices rise accordingly. Cartoni is still a small family-run factory, so now I'm familiar with this storied brand of tripods, and the history's fascinating. I'll link a short documentary in the description. But briefly, the company was founded in Rome in 1935 by Renato Cartoni, and from the early days there was a lot of competition between Cartoni and Sachtler. This sturdy head is going to give me the kind of smooth pans and tilts I've been looking for. I've often avoided camera movements with the Manfrotto head, or abandoned the footage I made using it. And that's the thing, I can't tell you how many takes I'd have to record to get one usable clip. Well, I can actually. It would be like at least a half a dozen trying to get a smooth movement. Even using the old string trick, I was never satisfied with the results. I should mention that getting a smooth pan or tilt with any head requires a certain amount of technique, and I'm still working on mine. Is there a downside to this Cartoni? Well, yeah, it's the weight. A combined 7.25 kilos, 16 pounds, 2 pounds more than the equivalent Sachtler. Again, with all the components, this whole camera rig and the Cartoni tripod comes in at 12.7 kilos, that's 28 pounds. So it's not run and gun. These Cartoni legs might not be quite so quick and easy to adjust as the Sachtler Flowtech, but they're one heck of a lot better than either of the photo tripods I've been using until now. The half ball means that leveling off is done quickly without the hassle of adjusting individual legs up and down. Good riddance to that. I should mention that the latest Sachtler Activ system, with the elimination of the locking handle, allows the legs to be collapsed right to the ground level. And that's a great innovation that also really speeds up switching between, say, a tripod and a slider. But it's not as if I'm on a set with the clock ticking. So, in this case, Cartoni beat the Sachtler. If not in terms of leading-edge technology, then certainly in terms of budget. It goes without saying, at least when it comes to camera accessories, I think it often makes sense to peruse the used market. My Rode shotgun mic that I'm using right now came by way of someone who imagined they'd build a YouTube channel and then discovered it wasn't as easy as simply buying the gear. So I ended up with a mint $350 mic for $200. Anyway, I'm glad I dropped on this Cartoni tripod. You're going to see a lot of movements in my videos courtesy of its fluid head. I'm going to do side-by-side comparison, the Cartoni to my old Manfrotto head. So without further ado, let's see if the investment was worth it in terms of results. So there we have it. I hope you found this video useful or entertaining. If you did, please give it the old thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified of upcoming content. And in the meantime, cheers, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you later.